It is currently the 9th of October, 2019. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you. Typhoon Hagibis. This storm system is a beast. You just look at the overall size of it, and it really just extends out here thousands of kilometers towards the north and south. That's mainly the cirrus outflow, what you're seeing here. I'm going to get back to that in a second, why this is so important. But what you really want to know is this inner core, which is pretty large at this time. That's where these winds are being carried up and over typhoon strength. And in fact, this is the strongest typhoon in the Westpac this year, overtopping Wu-Tip from earlier this year. It is still expected to, or I should say U2, not Wu-Tip. Wu-Tip was last year. Still expected to strengthen just a bit more in central Japan. We are looking at a likely landfall out there for you. Winds right now are 140, gusting 170 knots, pressure at 915 hectopascals. To put that in perspective, what 915 hectopascals means, Typhoon Haiyan from a few years ago got down to 900 hectopascals. So this is not far off from that storm system. Totally different storm. It did go through some eye wall replacement cycle about 12 hours ago. That's why the eye looks pretty big. But it's just this inner area right in there. That is where you have that max winds. Now, I did mention that outflow towards the north and towards the south. And the big thing with this outflow is that we are seeing basically a chimney effect with this storm. These are big lungs for this to continue to breathe here. And think of it as a well-stoked fire. And you have that good ventilation, and that is going to allow the fire to get hotter and hotter, especially if you have air flowing into the bottom of it. And that is the case with this. Now, where is it going to go? Well, what I'm showing you here is the 500 to 850 millibar background wind flow. And basically, you have this high-pressure ridge towards the west. You have a high-pressure ridge towards the east. Now, think of these as mountains. Now you have this trough just towards the north over central Japan. That is a valley. So let's say we have a bit of a river right in here. Where is that river going to want to flow? Of course, it's going to want to flow in between those two mountains up towards the north through this valley. And that is exactly what we're expecting to happen. This is going to recurve here in the near future. According to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, actually already starting to make that northwesterly projection coming on shore into central Japan. And that, of course, comes on shore. We're still looking at winds upwards of about 80 to 90 knots sustained, which is sufficiently high enough winds to cause some damage to some structures out here, especially near the coastal regions, but also even extending off towards Tokyo, where, especially across Chiba Prefecture, still recovering from Typhoon Faxai last month. And you can just see here those winds coming on shore, very similar paths actually to Faxai, a little bit different, but similar enough that it is definitely going to be very reminiscent for a lot of people out here. Now, the storm is going to be making landfall likely a little bit further towards west, but if it shifts further towards the east, that could really change up the overall progression and forecast with this. The big thing is that anybody across central and eastern Japan really need to be watching for this, not only for the winds, but also further inland across the Japanese Alps. You could be looking at some tremendous rain with this, adding up to a few hundred millimeters. So, at least at this time, the one thing I can highly recommend, anybody along the eastern seaboard, and even for our military friends, extending from basically Yokosuka especially, but if you live anywhere across the Kanto Plain, that is around the Tokyo area, at this time you really should start to pick up your lawns, get things a little bit more organized. Any loose objects that could be tossed about and become dangerous debris, that is also something you do want to be taking care of as well. For now, though, I'm just going to let you guys go. I should have another update coming up in about 24 hours, hopefully before then, with the latest update on this storm system as it tracks off towards the north. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them down in the comment box below. And as always, stay safe out there.